All right, we are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Talk About It Tuesday. And tonight, we're going to have a kind of a special broadcast tonight. Generally, on Talk About It Tuesday, we spend a lot of time talking about some bowling balls and going over some new releases and things along those lines. And while there was a pretty exciting release message today, we decided we wanted to bring two of the Purett staffers on here. And on the program tonight, I have invited the newest PBA champion, Kerry Smith, and a multi-time PBA champion and finished runner-up in the event this weekend in Rick Graham. So welcome to both of you tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. How we doing?
Good.
All right. Kerry is on a Commodore 64 computer. So her video isn't the greatest, and Rick is on something that could probably run the video at the Pentagon for surveillance. So he's got quite the setup there in the background. But again, Kerry, I'm going to start with you. So, we brought you on here. If everybody out there hasn't seen thus far, Kerry did capture her first PBA title this weekend. And she had teamed up with 32-time now titleist and winner on the regional tour, Ryan Schaefer, in a over 50 and under 50 event. So, first and foremost, Kerry, just an amazing accomplishment. But I just wanted to, start off by saying, how do you feel? I mean, has it set in yet? What's going through your mind right now?
Yeah, I mean, it has set in. I mean, it's been a couple days now, but honestly, I'll be honest with everybody, I never thought I would get a regional title. I've bowled with the guys. I know I can bowl with the guys, but to actually, it's always been in the back of my mind, like that would be cool to have a banner with everybody else. But to actually, live it and do it now, it's amazing. It's just awesome.
Right. So, I mean, it's, the interesting part of it is, I think I got it wrong when I put the initial post up, but I do know, obviously, you just joined the PBA Tour. You've been a longstanding member of the PWBA Tour since it came back. But this was just your third event after becoming a member. So, quick success. I may be a little jealous. I've been at it for a lot of years, and I haven't even been close. But so, pretty unique story there. But I think one of the other portions of it, with Rick being on the feed here is, yeah, you won the event, but Rick had one hell of a showing with his partner as well and came in second in the event. And not to mention, Rick, you had some pretty special events as well going on during the event. So you bowled not one, but two PBA 300s and a 296. The 96 might have been a little left. I think he's 369, but those weren't your first ones. But Rick, what were you using? What were you thinking during the event? Trying to chase down these guys.
Well, Saturday going into qualifying, I saw online before I got to the bowl that the scores were high. So we knew we were going to have to, shoot big scores to make it. And after two games, we were like plus 40. And actually, Missy came by and said to me, "Hey, you guys are like 28th. There's only 30 teams." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. We need to pick it up." And the third game, I think we shot like 500. Then we shot another like 420. So we had a long way to go. And then the last three games on Saturday, I shot 300 the fifth game, and then shot 240 and 240 for 790 something. And Phil Drum, my partner, shot 760 the last three. So we went from not even close to qualifying third. I just switched to the Axiom Pearl I threw it to Phil ball in the fourth game and then used it, the last three games, and it was money. I was crossing with Parker Bones, so that was a good day. He started today with 300 and 800. Yeah. So yeah, I knew, then it was going to be, it could be a good weekend. I got lined up and then, see what happened Sunday. And Sunday was the same way. We started a little slow and we were in 8th place out of the 8 finalists after 3 games. We both shot 590 the first 3. And then we started clicking, and that's when I shot my 296, my first PBA 296. Then I shot 249 or whatever, and then 300, and then 250 the next game, which was the seventh game, the first game against Kerry and Ryan. And at that point, we were already 200 and some pins down. It was just trying to, if we shot a really big game there, maybe have a chance. And after that game, it was just trying to make sure we stay in second.
Yeah, it was
almost so good.
Yeah, you had 847, and I think both of your 300s were with that Axiom Pearl, I believe, correct? And the 296.
Yeah, yes.
So all three of them. So I mean, technically, you had 896 in there, with the ball, but really impressive run there. And what Rick was saying there is, both days, I think, it's just the tale of the two things. So the conditions over the weekend, I bowled in the event as well, and the scores were high. They were softer for a PBA pattern, if you will. I mean, it was like a 6.5 or 7-to-1 ratio. So, and when you give the best players in the East region, that kind of miss room or hold or a little bit of push, they're going to expose the pattern. But I think the thing for me that was the coolest about it was, even though that they were a little softer, it allowed for multiple styles to hit the pattern, and I really like to see that because Rick tends to be, we call it the voodoo roll, and tends to be a little spinny through the front with a lot of axis rotation, and can get in, kind of get around it. And Kerry's partner Ryan, was in the left gutter pretty early, and really curving a blood red jab, for most of the part, and then Kerry was playing kind of up the lane, so it kind of allowed so many different styles, which in my opinion it made for a better environment. Even though the scores were high, people felt like they had a chance because, again, I'm not talking down on it, but we've been getting our butts kicked by the left for a while, and it gave us a chance. There was plenty of lefties in the finals, but the right-handers came out on top, and luckily, and the nice thing about it is two of my favorite right-handers finished 1-2. So it was a good day for the team. But
I think all the lefties in the finals kind of helped too, because you don't have just one or two, and they had to make adjustments pair to pair because there was a bunch of lefties in the finals.
Right, and that's a good
place. And
right, it's a good point. It's a good point to make. In the first day when you have two squads and they're spread out, they're not seeing quite as much transition. But then when you go down to only using 4 pairs, and now you have more lefties that are bowling, they saw transition that they didn't see the day before, which, the right side maybe navigated a little different through. And, they felt a little bit about you were saying, like you said, you and Phil, you didn't see the fresh real well either day. Yeah. I would say on the polar opposite, I think Ryan and Kerry probably saw Kerry, I think, like the fresh more than anything. As they got late in the block on Sunday, I watched Kerry as she started to lose the front part of the lane a little bit where she was playing, but at that point they were thoroughly ahead, so it wasn't a big thing to try to scramble and throw other balls. But I think it's an important point that you made there, Rick, because it's just at that level or local level or anything else, transition is going to be different for players. All right. So Kerry, talk a little bit. So, a little bit maybe about the differences that you see between the maybe the guys and the girls tour. I think that would be a good one for everybody out there to understand.
Well, to start, the girls never slide in the left gutter or the right gutter. On the women's tour, we tend to, stay right for as long as we can. The girls don't have the big hooking ball, so we can play straighter. And on the women's tour, I feel like the patterns, hold up longer. And like I said, they just allow you to play, to the right longer versus when you're bowling with the guys, there might be a lot of your thing going down the lane, which never goes down the lane on the women's tour hardly, unless somebody's shooting a spare with it. But the guys, I just feel like the guys are all over that urethane, or as soon as they see something hooked, they feel like they gotta immediately jump left. So the lane transition on the guys tour definitely transitions quicker because they're moving left quicker, and like I said, there's a lot of urethane. Versus the women's tour where we stay right longer. So yeah, those are the main differences.
Yeah, I would say, kind of to wrap up what you're saying there as well. I really think that on the women's tour, we see them lose the front of the lane very quickly, to the right because there's so many of them, kind of in unison to what we were just saying about the left. When there's a lot of balls beating up a certain portion of the lane, obviously it's going to change quicker. I think that, the pattern we just bowled on didn't get to that point real quick because it was so multi-angle that people
Right.
were able to play within their strengths of wherever they wanted to play. And maybe on the other portion of it, talking girls versus the guys. But Rick, this is year number 3, I believe, for you on the senior tour. So is that something you see maybe as a commonality between bowling with the what we call them the raisins, but you bowl with the senior players versus when you bowl with the kids?
Yeah, it is almost the same as what Kerry was saying with the women compared to the guys tour. When I bowl with the kids or the regular regionals, you see everybody jump left more and more your thing going down the lane.
Mm-hmm.
So they do transition faster and more changes. Where when I'm bowling the senior stops, I don't have to. You don't have to make as much of a jump. I'm probably jumping left, faster than anybody else, and I definitely am not doing that on the regular, on the regular tour. But the senior tour, you can stay right more, and there's not very much your thing at all going down the lane. So it is almost the same as what Kerry was saying with the women compared to the tour.
Yeah, it's a good thing for everyone to understand out there. So if you're thinking about doing a tour event, it's a different environment, not just because of the players you're with, but I mean, the oil patterns are different than what you're going to see in the local events. In the local events, you're going to have people that are playing all over the place. They probably don't break down the same way. Let's say we put a group of players together at the local level to bowl on what we just bowled on. It may end up playing completely different just because of where they decide to attack the pattern, right? When you get out and you're with a bunch of individuals who are, let's say, professionals and shot makers, and they're hitting the front part of the lane and the angles the same way, the lane is definitely going to change differently than it does when it's kind of balls going all over the place through the front part of the lane. Rick, we talked about this for years. That's and Kerry, no different. When we hit practice sessions and stuff on on the tour events, it's not, we're not there to get lined up for the next day because we all know, you don't really have any spare balls going down the lane for the most part. People are just kind of fishing all over the place, and they're never going to be the same the following day. It's more to get your bearings, and you can kind of, focus on topography of a lane, you can kind of figure that out, but you're not, we're not going in there and we're not crowbarring balls with Aberlon and things like that in a practice day because we're not bowling for score. We're getting an idea. Kerry and I would have loved the other week in Toledo to be able to bowl on the last couple pairs in the building. They actually had a league bowling down there while we were in practice session, so we didn't get to practice in the high end. Well, they were like an absolute ice skating rink. So like everybody that went to that pair was. It felt like you were just walking on baby powder. Like I could have had ice skates on and like hockey stopped and, would have been better at the foul line than that. But, it is what it is. But I think it's pretty awesome though, talking to, 2 players here, one at bowls women's tour and is crossing with the guys, and Rick having, bowling with the kids and then bowling up on the 50 plus. I mean, a lot of the same commonalities, a lot of the, it has to be a different approach for these players when they bowl. So, from a mentality standpoint, I'm sure both of you go in with a different perspective of what you expect the lane play to be like. And that takes some mental aptitude and understanding to understand what those moves are, because your transitions are going to be completely different. Your ball choices are probably completely different. When I watch Kerry on the women's tour, the last couple of years, you haven't seen a lot of big asymmetric balls going down the lane because the patterns, because the girls are trapping to the right and the fronts go so much, those big cores are just too much in the front part of the lane. And, it's no different. You're going to see a lot of symmetrics. But when she goes out in the guys tour, now, Kerry, your title yesterday, what ball were you throwing for the most part?
Redemption hybrid.
Big asymmetrical ball. Got to throw it on the guy's side, right? And I know you threw an Omni down there. So you got to throw the bigger balls so right where you're comfortable. And Rick, with an Axiom, he went with a symmetrical ball, retention, for axis rotation. But again, his choices may change a little bit what he uses with the raisins, because the lanes are not, they're just not the same. Oh.
Well, I think it's important that depending, for me, like if I'm bowling with the guys, like I know that the guys are going to go left quick. So, I mean, I look what my ball's doing, and I think it's really important that if anybody's going out to bowl on the men or the women's, tour, do you. Like, that's what I went in there to do. Like, I went in there and bowled my game where I'm comfortable. And I've done it plenty of times, on the men's tour, playing out when everybody else is in the left gutter. Like, that's unheard of. But, I mean, that's what I do. And that's, I do me. I focus on me. I know, Jeff, you and I have talked about this, always try your strength. And if it's not there, then, that's your A game. And then you go to your B game. So, I mean, I focused more on that in the last couple of events, and it seems to pay off.
And we talked about it on, the mental aspect. We talked about it with Farber. We talked about it with, my team here and my players. And I'm going to reiterate what you just said. I mean, be the best version of yourself that you can be. Understand that anytime you can put yourself in position to play your A game, you're going to have a better event. Okay. And even if the pattern, ahead of time, you look at it and you go, well, it's telling me I'm not going to be able to play out there on paper. Guess what? How many times have we walked into a building and, played a portion of the lane that you're not supposed to be able to play, and it ends up being the right way, right? It just, you always try what your strength is. Always. So Terry Pop went in here, Kerry. I have your face kind of hidden right now. Can't even see it at this point. But, he's asking, what was the feeling like getting that title, on tour? And what advice would you, give to somebody who's looking to take the next step to compete on that level or considering getting their card?
So the first part is, what does it feel like? It's awesome. Because like I said, I never really, the ultimate goal in my mind is to win on the women's tour at the national level. That is the ultimate goal. So to actually be able to compete, like I've competed on the regional tour with the guys in a couple events in the last couple of years, and I've cashed here and there. So, I know it's hard. There are really good players in the East region. So, I mean, I knew it was going to be hard, but to actually, like I said before, to actually win a title, it's amazing. Like, it's something that not many women have accomplished on the guys tour. So I know we were kind of going over who all has regional wins and national wins, women wise on the PBA tour, and it's not many.
I think we determined you either number 6 or 7.
Yeah.
We're not really sure what it is, and maybe to ask Rick that question as well. Rick, your first title was when?
2010 in Rome, New York.
Okay, so we know you love. I know you love Rome. It always does well in that building. Actually, it's funny that you said Rome because I think we just talked about the 2 players I think that won regional titles. I don't think it was Rome though. It might have been.
Rome. It's in Rome actually. Kelly and Liz.
Kelly and Liz. It was Rome. So that's kind of a unique center. So that just means that Rick throws it exactly like Kelly and Liz.
I've won there twice.
same ball roll, but I mean, the same thing. So, like when you won what was it like when you won your first one, Rick? I mean,
it's I could. I mean, it was elimination rounds, and it wasn't match play. It was round of 8, round of 4. And that year, Ryan Simonelli averaged probably close to 260 in qualifying.
Wow.
So he was the one that everybody thought, he's a guy to beat. And I bowled him in the round of 8, and somehow beat him 2-1. And once I beat him, I'm like, hey, I can. I just beat Ryan. I can win this.
Mm-hmm.
And to win it, I beat Greg Thompson from California in a title match. I forget who in the semifinal match. I remember winning, and I had to be at work that night, that Sunday at 6:00, and I was in Rome winning at like 2:00, and I had to rush back to be at work because I'm like, well, if I make the finals, I'm not gonna make it the whole way to the final match. I'll be home in time. So I get done and texted and said I'll be there as soon as I can. And Missy had to work that weekend, so she wasn't able to go along. But it's just one of them things that it took a little while to sink in. I mean, I got to work that night and did what I had to do, and then after that, I was like, I just won a regional title.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. I am a score watcher. I will admit that. Like, that just motivates me to bowl better for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some people cannot be a score watcher. They cannot look at that at all. They're not good with the pressure, but I am a pressure bowler, and it's just something. So the entire weekend when we were bowling, we had a really good qualifying round, and that's when I think when you're bowling an event and you first win something, there's a time during the event where you're kind of like a light bulb goes on and you're like, I feel like I could win this, today or this weekend. So, we had a really good qualifying round, and I was like, we're striking a lot. I said, we could put up a good fight and, maybe win this. And then in my head, I was like, as long as, because we all know that the pattern is different from Saturday to Sunday or Friday to Saturday. So in my head, I was like, as long as I have the same look, even if I would have to throw a different ball on Sunday, I think we can do this. And then when we got in there and we just started going, I was so focused on just, I was in the moment. I wasn't score watching. That was Jeff's job. I stayed in the moment. I, threw good shots. I had good ball reaction, and I just put the foot on the accelerator and went. And, at the same time, you got to focus. It's a doubles tournament. So, you're cheering on your partner and you're just feeding off of each other. And it was just great chemistry. And then we were halfway through match play, and I was like, I knew we were in first. I didn't know by how much at that point. But we won some pretty clutch matches coming down the home stretch. So,
and the 50 bonus pins this weekend was really big. With the doubles, it was 50 bonus pin, 30 for the team win, and then 10 for the seniors and 10 for the regular tour players. So with them 50 bonus pins, you shoot a big game. Yeah. I remember seeing the one game you guys both shot 269, I think, or something. I'm like, wow, right there's 200 over in one game with the bonus pins. We did that a couple games, and that's what got us from 8th up to, getting to bowl you guys in a position round, because you shoot big games and get them 50 bonus pins. That's a big.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, Kerry and Ryan ended up going undefeated as far as, winning their team game. So, I mean, right there, they had 8 games. It's 400 bonus pins. Well, I shouldn't say that. 30 pins on the 8. They got 240 out of that. But they won a lot of head-to-heads as well, which, essentially, went even further. But to answer Brandon, put the question here, did you know you were in the lead? Yeah, like she said, she knew we were in the lead, but I knew both of them. Neither one of them, I watched them because they had no idea where they were as far as how much they were in the lead. And I wasn't saying anything because, at that point, they're bowling 240s, 250s, 260s, and they're just, cruising. No need. But I mean, I'm back there game, I think it was 5 or 6. And at that point, they'd opened up like a 250 pin lead. I'm like, man, they're 2 more wins here and they're going to run away with this thing. And it wasn't until the end of the 7th game where I looked at both her and Ryan and I said, Kerry's like, I don't want to know. I know we're winning, but is it close? Is it close? I mean, what am I going to? And I said, well, I think my exact words were, as long as you don't die the last game, you won. I mean,
Your exact words were no, because I kept asking you if it was close, and you just kept telling me no. So then you finally said, well, this is what it is because Russ is going to announce it anyway. So just don't die the last game.
Yeah.
He actually didn't announce it because it was such a big, because of being a big lead, he never did announce what the differences were. He passed out a paper showing everybody, but I don't think he did announce.
Yeah, because I was
actually before the 7th game, I went back and said to Jeff, because we bowled you guys the 7th game and then the position round again. And the 7th game, I said to Jeff about, we were at that point 220 behind or something like that. And I said to Jeff about, he goes, they don't even know. Don't say nothing. They don't even know. They're not even looking at it. And I was looking because I knew it was a couple teams real close for second at that point.
Right.
Where actually after the 6th game, we jumped up. We had like 120 pin lead on third.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 7th game, and we bowled you, and I think it was like 420 something to 420 something, but we still had 120 pin lead going in the last game. So I was like, well, if we shoot 600 and they shoot 380.
Yep.
So it was just at that point, I'm just watching the third and fourth. Yeah, I'm just watching the third and fourth place teams and, hoping we can stay in second, which we did because, nobody really shot a big game last game.
Right. But the second part of, I just want to touch on Brandon's second part of his question. How do you handle pressure? Since I bowled in college, I've always been a pressure bowler. So I anchored in college. I anchored this weekend. I live off of the pressure. Like if I need a shot, I'm going to go up there and throw the best shot possible. Hopefully it strikes if that's what I need. But that's just the kind of personality and the competitor that I am. So not everybody's like that. But for the most part, I don't know if everybody knows, but Ryan and I actually started in 5th before match play started. We were the 5th seed qualifier after qualifying. So, like I said, there was pressure to get up there because I knew we could do it, but I just kind of did it one shot at a time, stayed in the moment, and did our thing.
Awesome. I mean, again, an incredible weekend for both of you. I mean, it was pretty awesome for me. I mean, I wish I would have been bowling with you guys on Sunday. That would have been even better. But, and I don't have any awesome stories like winning the title or having 2-300s. I do. I mean, I did bowl a perfect game 8 or game 7 on qualifying where I had 0 strikes in a game and I didn't miss the pocket. So, you guys got to see that, so you guys know how much fun that was. And they were taking bets in the back to see if I could actually strike. And I actually asked Russ when we were done, I said, hey, can you turn this lane back on? Because I need to strike on this pair. Like, I don't get it. I got to do something. I got to figure it out. But it was awesome to be able to be there and watch, it kind of unfold on Sunday and, getting to watch, two of the players on our team here that are just, absolutely just bowled phenomenal, all weekend and, finishing 1-2 in any tournament. I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that. And I guess, some of my, my closing remarks on that are kind of questions for both of you is bowling's kind of at this point, we're seeing tournaments come back into play. Kerry, I know you're excited to PWBA, announce their schedule for next year, but maybe we'll start with Rick. So, Rick, what's on your calendar coming up? Anything big? Anywhere we're going to be seeing you soon?
In 2 weeks, with my working every other weekend, in 2 weeks, not this coming weekend, the following weekend, I'm bowling Sammy Ventura's tournaments up in New York. An over-under on Saturday at Waverly with Jason Statina. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday a singles in Binghamton. And then Thanksgiving weekend, I just paid my entry today to go down to Mooresville, North Carolina for a senior regional. That's the house that I led the national stop at. Not this past season, the season before, since this last season didn't happen. But there's a regional down there Thanksgiving weekend, so I'm going to bowl that. And then December, I heard a rumor this weekend that there's going to be a senior regional in Delaware, the first week of December.
Correct. I heard that as well. So
I might have to get the flu that weekend because that's my weekend to work.
It may not be a rumor because I heard it, so it's
Yeah.
probably going to come to fruition. So
Yeah, I heard the contract just got signed. So yeah,
Mhm.
there's first weekend of December. I'll probably be going to Delaware to.
I was prying to see if
see
we were
where
maybe going to see another, young, the younger guys and gals out there one, but there's no more of those in the schedule for this year. So the under tour's done for the year, but
there was talks about Fort Meade, but I guess that
that is not going to happen within this year yet. From my talks that I actually had with Russ, you may see maybe January. It could be an option, but it's just not going to be in the cards for the rest of this year. And that was going to be a non-champs event anyway, so a little different. But Kerry, obviously the tour was announced, but what's in store for you next?
Well, I'm just, bowling local stuff every weekend. Anything that Jeff, we talked about this. I kind of made a promise to myself that, with COVID shutting everything down and, once everything would open back up, I was like, I'm going to bowl anything and everything, that I can find because, I was at the point where a lot of us women were hopeful that there was going to be a PWBA in 2020, but they canceled the tour in June. So I was, getting into shape and, doing all that stuff and preparing to go out there. But now I'm at the point where I need to start preparing again. So even if I bowl something local, rinky dink tournament, just something small versus something larger, it's going to prepare because the season is slated to start in January this year, which is awesome. But I really don't have any, obviously there's no more regionals or anything like that. So nothing too big on the schedule, just a lot of local stuff. We've pretty much done our traveling for the year, I guess you could say.
Rick, she couldn't even give a shameless plug to the women's event that I'm running because she asked me to. How bad is that?
I'm sorry, our calendar is filled, and so here's my plug. If you are a female and you have not signed up for Jeff's women's event on November 21st at 222 Dutch Lanes at 12 p.m., you need to get on Facebook right now and add the event to your calendar, and then you either need to Venmo or PayPal Jeff your entry because it is 100% prepay only, limited to 60 women, and it's only an $80 entry fee. So get your butt signed up for the tournament because Jeff is doing something special just for the women because I kind of asked him to. But anyway, sign up.
And I'm going to block Kerry out. I'm going to make sure out sucks. That way she has no chance at all. It's not true. We're bowling on Chromium. We're bowling on, I think Chromium's like 6-1 or 7-1. So, multi-angle pattern as well. So we did announce that'll play, very fairly at 222 Dutch. But there is one other question I did have for you, Kerry, because everybody kind of asked this, and I know you've been giving it some thought. So as a new PBA champion, what are the banner colors?
Everybody asked me this.
So okay. Have you decided yet?
So, okay, because I really, really love to have a polka dotted banner, but I don't know if that's possible. So if polka dots are not the way to go, we are going to go with either navy background and pink lettering or pink background, navy lettering.
Okay, that works. I think I would get a big duck on mine if I won because I just think ducks are cool. I don't know. That's my ultimate goal. Obviously you're the first one in our household with one. We all have to have goals. I thought it was cool. They were, talking about, trying to get prepared for next year. And, Rick's got a couple on the calendar for me. When they made the announcement about the Masters in March, that's my goal. We all got to set them for ourselves. That's what I want to be prepared for, what I want to look forward to. And, it's awesome, having you two guys on here because it definitely motivates me. I want to be where you guys are. I want to be a titleist out there. I want to win a banner before my time's done. And, it's awesome to have teammates that you can, kind of talk through and understand what it took to get there and along the way. And it's even cooler that I drilled all the bowling balls you guys kicked my ass with. So I think I'm allowed to swear on my own feed, right? I think I can. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But no, it's all in good fun. But it's again, guys, I want to thank you again for joining us on the program tonight.
Jeff, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Before you wrap it up.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps asking me what it feels like to win, a PBA championship, and that's all good and everything. But I'm going to throw the question back to you and say, what was it like watching your significant other win a professional title?
I'm imagining I'm trying to come up with a good analogy here. Being that I knew that you guys were ahead by so much, I think it was a little easier as far as from a nerve perspective, because when you're watching somebody, whether it's your significant other or, a close friend or a teammate or anything like that, and they're like, you kind of feel what they're feeling to an extent. You want them to win just as much as they want to win.
Right.
But I think for me, to be honest with you, I think it almost made me tear up a little bit for the simple fact that, I'm the one that gets to watch when you went through your health stuff and knowing how competitive you are and wanting to, no matter if you're bowling the guys or the girls or whatever you're doing, just wanting to go out there and win and how much the game means to you. Obviously, it matches, and it's more humbling sometimes than when you win yourself. I mean, it's, I think the pinnacle of anything, significant other, coach, anything along those things is just feeling, through you guys, what it's like. So, it was amazing to see it. I absolutely knew that you could win a title out there. I absolutely know that you will win a title on the PWBA tour as well. And I absolutely know that Rick is going to win one on the senior tour as well on the national level, because I get to watch it. I watch bowling more than I participate. So when you see something special, you embrace it, you learn from it, you stand behind it, and you help in any way that you can. So, I'm a grown ass man, and it brings tears to my eyes when you think about it. I mean, it's awesome. I can't imagine the feeling that actually comes along with that.
But at the same token, you play a big part in our victories because you're the one that's putting the layout on the balls, drilling the balls, standing. If we're at tournaments together, we're always bouncing ideas off of each other. You're always talking to Rick. You're always talking to me. We're talking to other teammates. So, I mean, don't cut yourself short because, you were part of this victory as well. And I mean, you helped us both. And I know I can speak for both of us when I say that, we appreciate everything that you do for us, our brands, and, your shop, so everything. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Love it.
And I'm surprised my new nickname that Kerry's teammate gave me this weekend didn't come up. Locker Boy.
Locker Boy. Rick threw his second 300, and he had Russ go back to the counter and got the locker keys, like the master key that was on like the cutoff head of the bowling pin. And he's gonna. I think Rick left that Axiom Pearl in the locker there for next time he goes there. So he knows it rolls really good in that building. So definitely going to be one that's a mainstay there for sure.
Yep.
But all right, gang. Hey, believe it or not, because it's very easy to talk for a long period of time. So we hit 40 minutes. It happens. It's great. Looks like matches are actually finishing up here. So I'm looking forward to coming home and seeing what the champ made for dinner. That's my new nickname for her. I call her Champ, just nonchalant. What's up, Champ? It has a nice little ring to it. But again, thanks, guys. I mean, I think it's awesome that we were all able to get on here tonight and talk a little bit to everybody out there. Kind of enjoy the win, and Rick, the great bowling on your end, and get people to understand the differences of what they may see when they try to to do multiple tours and stuff. So it's a really good info for everyone. But this week, we will have one more feed on the program, which will be Thursday, where I am going to be doing my best impersonation of trying to be a bowler myself. We're going to be reviewing the Brunswick Zenith on Thursday, and I can tell you that I am definitely going to practice tomorrow because I got to find a way to strike with that bowling ball in my building because, man, does that thing hook. I mean, hook. So you can't wait to show it to you guys. I mean, it's pretty awesome, and Rick, definitely will have to get you in here and showcase some of those balls on a feed one of these nights, and see some of those storm or roto shapes that you want to show off to the clients out there as well. And by all means, we may represent different companies at times, but we're all one family. So if there's anything any of us here at Pureit can do for you, don't be afraid to approach any of us and ask questions. And as I end every one of these programs, by all means, please go support bowling, support your proprietors, your pro shops, and go bowling, gang. All right. That's going to be it for tonight. Thanks for joining us. If you have any further questions after that, reach on out. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.